Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out Litecoin's price chart. And recently on Twitter, I have seen a lot of analysts calling this thing a beautiful head and shoulder structure, suggesting that we are actually going to go down quite a bit more. And in terms of the targets, let's just real quick put our chart on regular scale and then measure the height of our supposedly head and shoulder structure from this point to about the highs and put this thing at our breaking point, let's say around here. This is giving you about a $77 LTC. Now, question, can this scenario be in play or not? The answer is yes, it can absolutely be in play. Second question though, is this thing my favorite? I'll be honest with you, not really, because at the moment, at least, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of bearish signs suggesting in LTC we are going to get like a very strong move down, because in case that you haven't noticed, that move down in Litecoin is about like a 30% move, which means, for example, what in Bitcoin are we going to get like a 15 to 20% move on the downside, which in that case all altcoins are going to go down big time. Well, at this point, at least, let me tell you, I'm not really seeing enough bearish signs in the markets for such a move. Now, here's the deal. In case that you see in LTC, either from the current point or maybe I'm going to say potentially a bit lower, actually, a move on the upside in order to take this important high about $120. At that point, basically roll out this beautiful looking supposedly head and shoulder structure, because this, my friends, is not going to work anymore. So if you are looking for an invalidation point for your head and shoulder, it is going to be taking this high right in here. Now, let's talk about Elliot's waves and see what is going on, because every single thing at the moment in Litecoin is going according to the bullish play. You see, if you remember, the last time that we talked about LTC, we were right in here, and the idea was that we can have yet another move on the downside, since this seems to be such a slow and choppy bounce back, and on a higher degree, we may end up having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down, and this is also another 5 wave on the downside. So who knows, maybe these are the sub waves for an A, B, C zigzag. Question, can we say our move down is over? The answer is sort of kind of surprisingly yes. But should you be bullish right around the lows with a lot of confidence? Absolutely not. Question, what do we need to see in order for us to flip bullish? I think you know the answer. You need to see a very strong bounce back, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up. I'm gonna say in order to at least take this important high for the first target around $107. If I see something like this, let's say in the next 48 hours, you know what, fair enough, that can be a good sign suggesting the bottom is in. But I promise you, right around the highs, from my POV at least, it's not really going to be a decent long opportunity. Why? Okay, let's go according to the most bullish case and argue we're going to have a 5 wave up and the bottom is in. What are we going to have after this is over? I think you know the answer. We are going to have a rather deep pullback, but this must have certain characteristics, and chief among them is being slow and choppy, and between our pullbacks up, you should constantly be able to identify overlapping of the waves. So if you see such a thing in Litecoin in the next, let's say, a week to 10 days, okay, fair enough, at that point, we can be bullish with a lot more confidence. As long as I'm not seeing this, I'm going to be a bit patient and careful, and maybe even say, you know what, maybe this is just going to be, excuse me, an A, B, C in form of a zigzag. And what's next? Well, unfortunately, yet another move down in LTC. Like, do not get me wrong, I don't really believe that we are going to have such big moves. No, but we could certainly have another move down and take the lowest low about 100 and maybe even reach to about, let's say, the 98 handle, and then have yet another strong bounce back. And by the way, why do I think that for now at least we may not necessarily go that lower? Because if I just go on H4 time frame, zoom in more, okay, so let's just bring up MACD. There we go. What do you have on the live chart? This is a low, the other one is a lower low, but in MACD seems like that we are having a low, the other one is a higher low. So this is actually a rather good looking bullish divergence, and I am really hoping that this is going to do the job and send the price up. And by the way, in H1 time frame, what is going on? Yep, once more we are having a beautiful bullish divergence. This is a low, the other one is a higher low. So for now, in the short term, let's have another move on the upside, but I want to be very clear. the move itself right in here is not really that important. Okay, it's very, very important to understand that. What really matters is the shape of that move. Are we going to get a move up followed by a consolidation and yet another move on the upside? If we get this, great sign. At that point, you are going to see me being a bit more bullish than before in LTC. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Litecoin's chart. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.